Esperamos, empresário chiquita me pouco propôs na bill.
O preço que mira é sei mesmo que paga.
Aqui não tem weekend special.
Aqui tudo dia especial.
Donald Trump Jr. claims he did not tell his father about his meeting with a Russian lawyer last year. It's a denial central to the current political storm. Reaction to Trump Jr.'s email chain showing him keen to accept sensitive information on Hillary Clinton from a Russian national has been swift from all sides.
Here I think you have quite direct evidence that the Russian government had damaging information, communicated that to the campaign, and all of the campaign denials of whether we know this is going on or whether Russians had any involvement, whether the Russians wanted to help his campaign, obviously now have to be viewed in a completely different context.
But even Republicans want Trump Jr. questioned by the House Intelligence Committee over possible collusion between Russia and the 2016 Trump presidential campaign team.
There's no evidence yet that the Russians did help them, but that requires further inquiry. And the fact that we're knowing this now in July really is disturbing. I mean, whatever they got about Russia, they need to get out.
Other known critics are questioning whether President Donald Trump is fit for purpose.
Between these revelations and the president's horrendous handling of the meeting with Mr. Putin, it's clear that Congress needs to step in and sanction Russia and be a roadblock to lifting sanctions, because clearly the president will not be tough with Mr. Putin, as he should be.
Meanwhile, President Trump continues to deny any collusion and President Putin denies any interference. Critics may be rubbing their hands in anticipation, but lawyers for the Sun hope the saga is just a demonstration of political inexperience.
Russia says it will retaliate against the United States if it doesn't hand back 2 diplomatic compounds seized under the Obama administration, which also expelled 35 of its diplomats. Speaking in Brussels, the Russian foreign minister told reporters, "We still hope the United States, as a country which always stands for the rule of law, will respect its international obligations. If it doesn't happen, if we see that Washington doesn't consider that such a step is necessary, then of course we will take retaliatory measures. This is the law of diplomacy, the law of international life. Reciprocity is the basis of all relations." Meanwhile, the EU's foreign policy chief, Federica Mogherini, stressed the need to keep lines of communication with Moscow open.
It is clear we do not share the same positions on everything, but our dialogue is constant and it's important. It is essential from our perspective to engage, to cooperate wherever it is possible, and on many of the crises we have exchanged on today, we indeed identified ground for cooperation.
Turkish police say they killed 5 militants from the self-proclaimed Islamic State group when they raided a house in the central city of Konya. Regional authorities say 4 police officers were slightly wounded in the operation. According to the Dogan news agency, special forces launched a series of raids because they believe the suspected militants were planning an attack. The governor's office said a gunfight ensued when those in the house resisted. Police later recovered several weapons and ammunition. The area was sealed off and approaching vehicles searched after the clash. These pictures show suspects already in detention being taken for health checkups. In the recent past, ISIL has carried out several attacks in Turkey, and many foreign fighters have passed through the country on their way to join the extremist group in Syria and Iraq.
A London local authority has released CCTV footage of a thief ransacking the contents of a Range Rover, then attempting to make good his escape on a so-called Boris bike. Although the pay-as-you-go two-wheelers are not known as the most nimble or agile of bicycles, 31-year-old Jake Ned deemed them to be the ideal getaway vehicle for his crime. However, the police soon arrived and apprehended Ned after using the door of their van to knock him off his bike. He has since been sentenced to 28 weeks in prison.
The Croatian island of Hvar has had enough of rowdy tourists turning the classy destination into what's been described as a boozed-up free-for-all. The island's new mayor has just introduced a raft of fines to encourage visitors to behave and dress more appropriately.
Actually, when I just took a dip in the water now, and I was on the way out, and a security, I think it was a security guard, he told me that I should put my top on, but I was soaking wet. I was like, but I just got out the water, so why? And he said, oh, you could get a big fine, so I'm just saving you some money.
Quite a lot of money. Not wearing a top could cost 500 euros. Wandering around in a swimsuit, 600. Drinking in public, 700 euros.
Yes, I think it's correct, because it's respectful for the others, and if you don't respect the rules, it's not nice for everybody, for every tourist.
I think it's quite ridiculous, because it's so much money, and it's like just being able to wear a swimsuit. I think it should be okay in this area because it's very hot.
Hvar's mayor said young people who know how to behave are welcome.
Moscow has toughened its rhetoric in its row with Washington, saying it's considering ways to retaliate for the seizure of some of its diplomatic premises in the United States and expulsions of diplomats. Russia Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said it was outrageous that the US had not handed back the 2 intelligence compounds. The situation is outrageous. I find it shameful for such a great country as the United States, an advocate for the international law, to leave this situation hanging in mid-air. We are aware of the Russophobic feelings in Congress. In December, the US seized 2 Russian diplomatic compounds, and then President Barack Obama ordered the expulsion of 35 Russians over what he said was their involvement in hacking to interfere in the US presidential election campaign. Moscow denied the allegations and said then it would wait to see if relations improved under incoming President Donald Trump.
Italian firefighters have been battling numerous separate blazes on the slopes of Mount Vesuvius near Naples. Tourists and residents have been evacuated for the second time in a week as a precaution after some observers thought the clouds of smoke were coming from the volcano itself. The flames have devastated pine forests and hectares of woodland in the area. At least 100 active fires across the Campania region are being tackled by around 600 firefighters and civil protection workers. Although arson in some cases hasn't been ruled out, dry weather and strong winds have certainly played their part.
The European Court of Human Rights has upheld a Belgian ban on wearing the full face veil in public. It ruled that Belgium had the right to enforce the ban to ensure social cohesion and protect the rights and freedoms of others. The court rejected a legal challenge by 2 Muslim women who wanted to wear the niqab in public but now risk fines and up to 7 days in jail. Belgium banned face veils in 2011 on security grounds to allow police to identify people. Some also argued they were symbols of the oppression of women, and MPs passed the law almost unanimously. Belgium followed closely in France's footsteps with this law, and several other countries in Europe have since introduced partial bans on face veils, including the Netherlands.
Televidente do Espaço Comercial, ora nos tebek nos informe na internacional.
É programa com mais de uma década